Here is your daily regional prepping brief for January 30, 2026, putting together the top global developments from the past 24 hours with a focus on preparedness impacts. I've selected 7 key events that signal potential disruptions in security, geopolitics, and regional stability. The first event is US immigration crackdown. Deadly ICE raids in Minnesota sparked backlash, with AG Case Ellison accusing the Trump administration of a cover-up. Operations continue amid lawsuits. Region is Midwest US, especially Minnesota, urban areas with high immigrant populations. Why it matters? Heightens local tensions, risks civil unrest, and strain emergency services in affected cities. Prepping action. Stock 72-hour urban bug-out bags, monitor local police scanners, reinforce home security. Global implications. Signals stricter global migration enforcement, potentially disruptions, labor and supply chains. Forecast. For worst-case scenario, it escalates to widespread riots and National Guard deployment. Iran-US tensions rise. This is event number 2. Iran's top diplomat visited Turkey for talks as Trump reviews expanded military options against Iran's nuclear sites. Defense Secretary Hagtheks affirms readiness. Region affected is Middle East, Iran, Turkey, and key oil checkpoints like Strait of Hormuz. Why it matters? Iran supplies 20% of global oil transit. Strikes could spike energy prices and inflation. Prepping actions. Fill fuel cans now. Secure 3 months fuel reserves and diversify heating sources. Global implications. Oil shock waves hit everywhere. Expect $5+ per gallon gas worldwide. A worst-case scenario forecast is airstrikes disrupt oil and global recession triggers. Event number 3. Iran protests crackdown. Iranian security arrested thousands to preempt anti-government protests. Reports of 6,000 plus deaths since December. Region affected Iran and major oil producer, regional power broker. Why it matters? Internal instability could halt oil exports, amplifying energy crises. Prepping actions. Acquire propane stoves, test generators, ration fuel use. Global implications. Early warning for regime collapse, refugee waves into Europe and Turkey. Worst case scenario forecast is revolution topples regime, civil war ensues. The next event is Venezuela-Cuba oil sanctions. Trump threatens tariffs on countries selling oil to Cuba, linked to Venezuelan opposition abduction claims. Region is Caribbean, Venezuela, and Cuba affects Latin American supply lines. Why it matters? Tightens regional fuel scarcity, risking blackouts and shortages. Prepping actions. Solar charge essentials, hoard barter fuels like kerosene. Global implications. Precedent for energy weaponization and hits global shipping. Worst case scenario forecast is blockades cause mass blackouts. The next event is Alberta Separatists push. Alberta Separatists met US officials. Canadian leaders like Carney, Ford, Abbey call it treason, urging sovereignty respect. Region affected Canada, Alberta, oil-rich prairie province bordering US. Why it matters? Could fracture NAFTA trade and spike North American energy costs. Prepping actions. Border communities, dual currency cash and stock import goods. Global implications. Test US intervention in allies, disrupts oil to US and Europe. Forecast for worst case, US back split and trade war erupts. Mistissini lockdown, the next event. First Nation community locked down after deadly shooting. Police investigation ongoing. Region affected Quebec, Canada. Remote Indigenous Northern Territory. Why it matters. Highlights supply chain fragility in isolated areas during crises. Prepping actions. Rural or remote 6 months food stores and sad communications. Global implications. Model for how violence isolates communities worldwide. Forecast for worst case escalates to broader unrest. And the next event is F-35 purchase review. Canada's defense minister puts F-35 jet buy under review amid tensions. Region affected is North America and Canada to US defense pact. Why it matters. Delays Arctic and NATO readiness exposes northern flanks. Prepping actions. Northern preppers should have some extra cold weather gear and ham radio nets. Global implications for preppers elsewhere should notice that it weakens collective defense versus Russia or China or both. So worst case scenario is cancellation spurs arms race. So stay vigilant. Energy and migration pressures dominate.